All right, I'm ready whenever you are.
Good afternoon, I'm Lonnie Click. I'm one of the incident commanders up on the Blanket Creek fire along with the Spruce Lake fire. I'll give you a brief overview on what we got going on. We assumed command August 29th of the Blanket Creek fire, and the transition between the local resources and us was a fabulous experience. They did a great job. They had a really good plan in place. It was really a tough fire to deal with, very steep topography, a lot of snags. So they were unsuccessful in their containment on the initial days of the incident. What we've done since then is we've created some indirect containment lines and done indirect firing for the last 7 days. And we've been very, very successful at that, keeping it within our box. We've had approximately 4 to 5 spots outside of our containment line. We've been successful in bringing all of those back in to where we have containment today of those back into the original perimeter. So we're working on that stuff, keeping it small. At the same time, you know, we have to look at firefighter safety first. We went through and we prepped all these containment lines, did a lot of snagging, a lot of brush work to make it so the fires that we could put on the ground with our own devices would be in our control. The amount of heat that we want to deal with, not the amount of fire that the uncontrolled fire is putting out. So we started on the ridge up here on top of Blanket Creek, where Blanket Mountain's at, Red Blanket Mountain's up on top. So there's a road system up here that we started prepping and burning from the center, east and west, and that's been very successful in holding. At the same time, the fire backed down the ridge into Blanket Creek. As it's backed down and came in contact with the road in the bottom, we've been holding that, firing as we've needed to, but the equipment and crews have been holding that and guiding the fire east and west in the bottom. So we've been really, really successful in operation, taking into consideration the extreme temperatures, low humidities, and then the winds that are associated with those extreme wind temperatures and humidities. So the fire behavior has been really uncharacteristic for the location that we're at, and really this time of the year. We started in end of July, and now we're at the first part of August. 25-year record temperatures and humidity, so you can imagine what kind of elements we've been putting the firefighters through. Well, they're doing a great job. We've had just a very few injuries, and they've been minor, so we're happy with that. They're coming back home safe every night, and we like that. So we also have, you know, we've created some closure area around the fire area so the firefighters can get in and out of there safely. We don't have public in there getting exposed to the fire itself. So we've had the forest close some stuff, and that'll stay in effect for, you know, probably the remaining of the summer. We've left a lot of things open because we have some cultural things to the north where the tribes have ceremony, huckleberry picking, and things like that they do. So we wanted to do our best to keep that open to them. And then of course we have spotted owl habitat and some aquatic features down there in the fire area itself. So I'm going to bump up to the Spruce Lake fire now, up there on the top of the map, just west of Crater Lake. We assumed command of it this last Saturday. It was a lightning fire also that started. It was a holdover, but it was from the same storm that the Blanket Creek fire started from. So we sent crews in there on Saturday to start working on that. And we've had some really, really extreme fire behavior. Long crown runs, lasted 3, 4, 5 hours a day, starting, you know, in the late afternoon, well into the night before they'd calm back down. That fire, when we assumed command of it, was about 100 acres, and now it's pushing at about 2,500. So, you know, we got crews out there now, and they're successful. We've got a good anchor point on the hill here in the forest. We put dozer line in there, and we've got crews going flanking it on the north and south, going direct with hose lines and tools. and they're working it to try to contain it and keep it as narrow as possible out towards the Pacific Crest Trail. The fire is established on the east side of the Pacific Crest Trail, so we're still working to try to flank it and pinch it, hoping that we'll get a weather reprieve at some point where things will go back to a little bit of a normal condition with some higher humidity, some lower temperatures, and you know, that'll bring the fire back down to the ground where we can deal with it. We do have the Pacific Creek fire that's down here to the south that we're looking at as trying to help us try to contain the Spruce Lake fire, and then we have the national fire that's up above on the top up here by Diamond Lake that we can use on that north end if we need to. Really, the Burt Creek Trail system and the PCT are our primary lines if we have to fall back indirect on this north end. But so far, we've been successful in Crater Creek right here going direct, because there are some really wet areas. There's lots of water to use hose lines, and the guys are doing a really good job. So, you know, that's the current situation of both the fires. We don't, you know, there's no structures threatened at this point. We have no evacuation in place. Like I said, we've had some minor injuries, but no major injuries to this point. And we're really happy with the way things are going.
Very well. Can you tell me a bit about how many personnel, crew, equipment you have on there?
We have about 630 people on the blanket fire and about 300 up on the Spruce fire.
Okay. And how many dozers and kind of equipment do you have there?
Dozers are scattered. We move them from fire to fire. There were 2 dozers on the Blanket Creek fire, and then we put 2 or 3 more up here. We brought in, as the fires moved to the west on Blanket, we brought some resources in to do some work on the ODF ground out here to the west as a contingency. So we've added a few more dozers to the fleet, and I think we're maybe up around 7 or so now.
Wonderful, thank you. Now, what do you expect for any future movement of the fire? Is there
So, you know, it's going to continue to move until we get containment all the way around it, until we get line. It's moving interior to our perimeter. All this is indirect firing, so we have to put fire on the ground to close this gap. So it's going to continue to move here. We have, I'm going to guess, you know, roughly 1,200 acres or so left within our indirect fire lines that we've created for the blanket fire, so we need to close that gap. So there's about 1,200 acres left to burn on this to get it to that good point where we're looking for it. Up here on the Spruce Lake, I'm not even going to guess right now. We've done some runs on fire behavior and you know, some projections, and it's you know, I'm not going to say, you know, I can't guess. So how big this one's going to be, or how much growth is going to take place.
At this time, is the Spruce Lake fire threatening any visitors at the park? Are they safe where they're at?
It is not. We went in there the first day and evacuated and closed the trail. There was one family of 4 that we got turned around and got out of there, and another single hiker that we were able to turn around the right direction and get them out to.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Lonnie. I appreciate it. This is Brian Gailey with Klamath Falls News, and thanks again.
Thank you.